In the opening, Clint Barton is showing his girl toxophilism on his segregated ranch while his significant other readies a cookout lunch for them. Abruptly, Clint's little girl disappears and the remainder of Clint's family crumbles, alongside half of all life across the universe, the consequence of Thanos snapping his fingers in the wake of obtaining every one of the 6 vastness stones. Cloud and Tony Distinct are abandoned in space following their loss by Thanos on Titan, however are gotten back to Earth via Song Danvers and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Standard, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the vastness stones back from Thanos and use them to switch his activities, yet learn after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second chance to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the leftover Vindicators know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional evil purposes. Maddened, Thor guillotines Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his little girl Cassie is presently a youngster and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving distress directing meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is enthusiastically overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Cloud. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers, and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them, just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain and that time extends much diversely there. The 3 go to Obvious, who is presently bringing up a youngster with Kepler pods, and makes sense of their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once more into the past and take the boundlessness stones before Thanos can gather them. Unmistakable at first oddballs their proposition with worry about taking a chance with his family and the harmony he has found, yet in the wake of reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the end tracking down one that works. With Unmistakable now ready, the excess justice fighters set off to reassemble their group. Bruce Flagg has now embraced the mass as a piece of him, and has merged his own cognizance and the mass together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparative strategies to Barton, passes on to track down Barton, consumed with despondency after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle Ronin while ruthlessly slaughtering criminal cartels and packs all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Standard and Rocket go to the humble community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by culpability over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating low-quality food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Miek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Vindicators after some persuading from Rocket and Standard. Subsequent to testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Vindicators are brought together with an arrangement. Flagg, Rogers, Lang, and Obvious set out to recover the time, brain, and space stones during the Clash of New York in 2012. Pennant goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the antiquated one that requiring some investment stone from her course of events would forestall Stephen Odd's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from obliterating the laws of nature. Nonetheless, when Pennant tells her that Peculiar surrendered the time stone energetically to Thanos, she permits Flagg to make them suggest. Weird had expected for a particular succession of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Standard additionally guarantees the stone's revisitation of their legitimate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Unmistakable endeavor to take the space stone after the Vindicator seize it from Loki. Lang gives Unmistakable's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his counterfeit heart, while Obvious takes the portfolio lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is ruined when Distinct drops the attaché after he is coincidentally hit by the mass. Loki then, at that point, takes the space stone and uses it to get away from care. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Psyche stone from covert Hydra specialists, yet finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. In the wake of overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Obvious and Lang, who currently should sort out one more method for getting the space stone without running out of the restricted stockpile of PIM particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the Psyche stone while Rogers and Obvious devise an arrangement to take the space stone from a U.S. armed force establishment during the 1970s, while likewise taking further vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers cites Peggy Carter and Distinct has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the Nine Domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would bite the dust soon and gets an opportunity experience with her while Rocket takes the Aether, the disintegrated rendition of the Truth Stone, from Jane Cultivate. The two revisitation of Earth after Frigga advises Thor and he recovers his sledge Mjolnor, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Plume does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Cloud glitches and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Thanos and Dark Throat find the presence of future Cloud and go to hijack. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, yet is past the point of no return. Thanos examines her recollections and finds the Vindicators arrangement, and sends the more faithful past Cloud back to the present as a government operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, attendant of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff at last accepting all negative consequences, while an upset Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Unmistakable, Rocket, and Pennant set off on a mission to create a glove to employ the stones, one developed from the equivalent nanotech of Distinct's most recent Iron Man suit. Pennant volunteers himself to employ the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the massive aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the Frog Cloud, obliterating the quantum entrance simultaneously. Thanos diminishes the Vindicators' base camp to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Barton's insurance. The previous Cloud is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the Endlessness Stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Obvious stand up to Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the Boundlessness Stones to annihilate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he truly deserved using Mjolnir, however are each outmaneuvered by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military grounds on the planet, T'Challa shows up before Rogers, alongside the Vindicators in general and different partners restored by Flag, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extended fight during which Obvious is brought together with Parker and Plume is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Vindicators for the Boundlessness Stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire different energy impacts, almost annihilating the Vindicators' endeavors. Chief Wanda returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Obvious moves the Vastness Stones from Thanos' hand to his own and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing on Iron Man. Parker and Potts console distinct as he kicks the bucket from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Vindicators hold a burial service for Obvious, whose imprint I-curve reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be glad for their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the gatekeepers of the system to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and administration without precedent for his life. Barton gets back to his family and Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his closest companion Ned. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's sledge to their unique courses of events, yet chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person, and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Skipper America onto Wilson. A short flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a common-looking house, at last sharing the dance they never got to have in their lounge, genuinely blissful fun.